interesting about this. We got the bullish day we were thinking we were going to get. So we have to decide, do we want to put a bullish trade on? No, Miguel, I'm 100% serious. When I, at a previous role, we had a product, and the capstone event of the product was a 3-day live event. And it was intense, like 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. And we were at a hotel, like catered breakfasts, catered lunch. We'd like end up at the bar, like right. Everyone stayed at the hotel, and I would do one a week, one a week for 4 years, sometimes 2. That was and it was amazing because this was the highest level of people coming through at just an explosive time in trading education. This was from 2004 to 2008. And so in that window, 200 workshops, average of, I'd say, 20 to 25 people. So I'd say I worked with 4,000 to 5,000 traders in that 4-year period. And these were like really hands-on sessions. I stayed in contact with people. I'd see them later. And that's where I went into trading psychology deep as I could. Really trying to connect things, really trying to study and understand behaviors and motivations and, things like that. So I love those. I now that you say that, I'm going to gather interest, and I think we could do it, man. Like, I think we could do it. So maybe later in the year, especially if we continue to see the growth of the group, and then make it like, maybe not, maybe annually or biannually, something where we just have like a traders weekend, or I don't know. Like, that sounds amazing, right? I'm in. Whoops. Sorry. Okay, welcome to the Weekly Market Wrap. I'm Scott. These are the disclaimers. We are not brokers or advisors. This is for education or illustrative purposes. We do not give recommendations to buy or sell financial products. What do? We do today's market analysis. The buyers came. Okay, this is the 4th attempt, and I believe we're at like 18 days now. 4th attempt at buyers. And in that regard, they really have struggled, meaning we are yet to get 2 consecutive buying days in the last basic 3 weeks. So it's not a strong position that we're in. We may have salvaged volume, right? I gave a few different characteristics, and basically a flat day or a negative day was going to end up being volume was going to drop. But we didn't. We got it, what we needed. And as such, volume might, but I think we're still going to get low. Maybe not negative, but low. So we'll revisit the market posture, mindset for trades being carried over the weekend. If you only paired down, or if you're still carrying some bullish things, your bullish things are good, you're probably going to hold. The question is, do you put anything new on today? Because if it's a V bottom, this is day 1, right? That's our thought process. If it's a V bottom, today is day 1. But does that mean we should be like loading up? Obviously, nobody here thinks that, right? No one thinks that. What are we looking for next week? That's a hard thing for us to. It's a hard thing for us to say, and that's part of the problem, in and of itself. We can't look at the economic calendar and be like, this is what's likely to bring influence, depending on the news that gets announced. There's still randomness to the news. We still have an unpredictability that we don't know what the news is going to be. But right now, it's like the news itself is unpredictable. The response to the news is unpredictable. The response to the response to the response is unpredictable. It's tough. This is a tough environment, right? If you were in a poker game, you're looking around and you see 3 pros at the table, and not only do you see 3 pros at the table, but you look at your stacks. They're just not. You don't got a lot. Like if you were heavy stacks, you could play aggressive with these guys. No, this is not the. This is where you blind and you play a little, and you're like, if you get the You get pair aces, you're going to play a hand. If you get anything else, you're going to be like, I don't know, I'm probably going to lay it down. Makes sense, right? Like, context matters. Not only that, we're out of position. We're last to act. So you have to, and if you're not a poker player, you should become one. It's a beautiful, beautiful game. At our Traders Weekend, on the evening of one night, we will play Texas Hold'em. That's happening. That's a part of it. Mark it. So if you're like, oh shit, I better learn. Yep, it'll be fun even if you only know a little bit. The Traders Weekend. It's gonna be amazing. I can't wait. Okay, let's go do it. I switched my perspective. I kind of felt like I really want to see momentum. If I'm going to do a bullish trade, and you can see Baba was one that I was like, that's an interesting thing. Is this going to make a run at the triangle that it's in the process of forming? Are we going to, that's not bad. If it breaks, then I think we're going to get this again. So that's not a bad prospect for today. If we're going to trade, we're going to do it here in the next 20 minutes. And then I have to spend a little time sending the alerts out. You guys know that's kind of a pain in the ass. I haven't found a better way to do it yet. So there it is. It's us working together. Let me switch the perspective back. You guys are quiet today. Yeah. Okay. Let's look at the market. So, oh goodness, I lied. I'm a liar. I don't know what I saw earlier. I thought we were like much higher, but a couple of things to notice, okay? As we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 in a row, and 14 out of 15 above average volume days. What has that done to our average volume? Well, if I go back here to the start of this, average volume was 40 million. 40 million. Right now we're at 36 with 47 minutes left, which means we'll probably get to actually no, we're at 40 million today. We're at 40 million today. What was it back here? Yeah, this would already be above average. Is it okay to ask what is going on with ATLXK? And I thought it was Karen, but if I'm wrong, tell me. It is okay to ask anything. Anything. So yes, and that comes early. I'm alphabetical, superstitiously alphabetical with my watch list. So I'll do it early in the watch list. Love it. So today, if it occurred at the start of this, would be an above average volume day. Right? It's already at 40 million. It's probably going to even get to 50 million. 55 million. What's the problem? 55 million is no longer above average today. Today, average volume is now 65 million. So we went from 40 to 65. The average volume has increased over 50% in the last 15 days, which makes it much harder to establish what we need them to establish for us to say, hey, look, the buyers, I want to smash and grab. I want them to like, bam. Now, here's the deal. Even still, if we get a V bottom from here, just like we said on this back here, we're like, if it's going to V, that's day one. It didn't. If it's going to be, that's day one. It didn't. Now, am I going to put on a bunch of bullish trades? No, but was I able to find uptrending stocks that were leaders in strong sectors that had buy signals? Because I'm not going to violate my rules in any way. In fact, I'm going to make sure that every single rule I adhere to even stronger than normal right now. We do not deviate in this market. If it's not a trade, we don't trade it. But the same thing is happening here, right? If over the weekend, and again, I'm all for it. I don't care. Yeah, there's people are like, oh, the administration can't stop because they'll they won't save face or whatever. Of course they can. Just declare victory. We win the trade war. Pull all the tariffs off. Everybody's afraid of us. Great, say it. Pull it off. I don't care. We're gonna. If you didn't see what happened with the consumer confidence today, let's take a quick pause for that about the news, because we are still getting some economic news, right? We're still getting some economic news, and today we got. Where did last week go now? Consumer sentiment, not a major one. And we knew it was going to come down. We thought it was going to drop a little. It dropped a lot. Like, that's a big drop. That's a big, big drop right there. Did I refresh this? I thought I had expectations. I think we are down, but we missed expectations on PPI. Is that right? Anyways, what do we have coming out next week? Retail sales expected to tick back up. Manufacturing, a little bit of a drop. Housing starts. Production, utilization. Fed. I can't believe we're already there. We're at the Fed. With no expectations. That's all we really, at this point, I think there's nothing coming that has, other than just trade war news, tips back and forth. I think the next thing is going to be the press conference. We know the decision, unchanged. It's going to be, how does the Fed adjust their comms to indicate policy? Because they're basically like, look, we're not going to do anything until we see what all this tariff stuff results in. So we haven't looked at this in a little while. I got to hurry up. I want to get to a trade. We'll go fast. 4 days. Let me refresh real fast. Right, 99% for next week. The next meeting is May. What would you call that? 2 to 1 against plus some. I've been in July. You can see the sentiment shifts to June. I just don't see that. I'm shifting to September. I feel like at this point the market's really pushing towards July. Really, there's a 6 to 1 chance, or a 6 to 1 probability priced in that we're going to get it at least by July. I don't know. You guys feel it? Do you think it's going to happen by then? I don't think so. I am vastly concerned about that. What else? Okay. Let's get to the watch list and go through it. Let me get rid of these drawings. And I'm going to switch the drawings. I want this one. Real quickly, my posture score, even though we've recovered some of it, we did test a new low. This is going to drop. The long term, you can see this is our line right here. This red line. This red line has been here for literally 18 months. And you can see that we came down right on top of it, bouncing. Okay, that's fine. That's going to hold. Short term will drop. Volume looks like it's going to stay. Volume looks like it's going to drop. We're going to add 3 selling days, so it's now going to be like 9 to 2. 9 to 3. So yeah, I think volume is going to actually get a little worse. The sellers absolutely own this thing. It's hard to argue anything else. And if you draw a consolidation line, even with today, we're still like, it's not a perfect line. Let me see if I can draw a straight line. Hold on. No, not high enough. I mean, maybe let's just draw two so we have like a representation. There's my consolidation zone, I'll call it. What do I want to see, you're wondering, to really be convinced? Now, I recognize that it needs to do this, but it could do this at some point. And if it does, I don't want to be watching like, I missed that. So I want to get something on. Now, my expectation would be that it might only go up a little bit and then drop. And if that happens, I'll probably throw some bear trades on. But if it just keeps marching, well, that'll change the story. The last time we looked like this with the market posture where we went into a correction, yes, you've probably been hearing that term more, a correction, 10% from the high. Let's go back 2 years. All the way back to here. I want you to notice that the last move was when it really got it. That's when we got to a negative score, which is about where we are now. And it was right after that we got that first V, bam, a little pause, and then a little further. And then by the time that move ended, look what it got. And it's like, if that's what's happening, we have to figure out a way to get in, whether it's switching to momentum candles, the Heikin Ashi, and then just like, hey, I gotta get a piece of this. I'll put a stop in. I want you to recognize what it's likely to look like based on patterns that we've seen in the past, right? So this is not like, a correction. We've never seen that before. Now you're seeing people are like, market's correct, even bull markets. And that's true. That's absolutely true. This is pretty fast. What I want you to notice is this last correction was this like wandering, meandering, like, there we go, there's 10%. And this one was like shabango, right? Like, bam, it was 10%. So one was 3 months, one was 3 weeks. So anyways, okay. Let's pop through the watch list now. One other thing we need to look at. Sorry. One other thing. Thank you for your patience. Lastly, the VIX. How much did we come down? A good amount. But only back to these old highs right here, where it's like if we stabilize and these old highs become the new lows and then we bounce, even if it's just a double, even if we come down here, we stabilize, and then we go back up and it's a double, that's going to be interesting. Now, if we come up and we do that, that's a lower high, and that actually shifts things where we're like, wait a second, hold on, lower high. That is institutions showing signs of de-escalation, and it's the institutions who push, right? They're the ones who push and give us that sustained off the bottom move that we saw back in October 2023. Okay. Let's get to it. Apple, obviously not, right? I'm actually going to switch to the Heikin Ashi. And I usually say, look, I only want to start with regular and then move to Heikin Ashi. This is a unique circumstance. Right now, we're saying if this is a bullish opportunity, I don't want to buy Apple off the lows. So let's go. SPY as a doji on the Heikin Ashi. Yep. Okay. I'm going to switch it to that perspective. And I'm going to look at the request, ATLX, on that same perspective. And then I'll switch it to the regular one just for a second there. So you'll see it. It'll be interesting, Karen, I hope. Apple down, looks terrible, right? AEE, that's actually, to me, it's got prospects. The only problem is we have a transition candle. So the question you're asking yourself is, as my posture has continued to deteriorate, is a transition candle enough, or do I now want to wait for a momentum candle? And you might ask, what's the difference, Scott? The difference is transition, momentum. That's the best way I can define it. You can see the transition are these dojis that are still whipping around a little bit. Momentum is when it gives you a bullish candle with no lower shadow, no bottom wick. Exactly. Exactamundo. Yeah? So that's why I'm saying on this one, I'm almost inclined to be like, you know what? I'd rather wait till Monday. And if we get the second day and then we have confirmation, then I can move into this one. So I look at that, and in a bull market where my posture was stronger, there's a very good chance I'd be like, yeah, I'm taking this. But this is the reflection of how the posture has deteriorated. We have to make those types of adjustments. Let me know if that makes sense or you have any questions. Amazon is a no. BABA, oh, well, look what BABA has. BABA has a momentum candle. It has this triangle, which if we can break the triangle. Now, what would make me think we are going to break the triangle? If we get that sustained move that the market is trying for, where we get 2, 3, 4 days, then I think we'll break the triangle. If we don't, we're going to fail and we're going to lose. And that's, if you're having a hard time with that, then I'd say don't trade now, right? It's fine. It's a tough market. It's a good time to paper trade now. It's not like, I don't believe you should be. If there's any, when in doubt, sit it out. Right? Great market to learn, tough market to trade. It's okay to acknowledge that and be like, that's what we have in front of us. So that's what I'm looking at from this. That's a front runner for me. Volatility still pretty high. You can see it's starting to come down. I don't want to buy an option and have this thing suck out on me, right? But nice maybe a bull call spread or a bull put spread if you prefer credit. Let's keep going. Buy the stock also, but it's expensive stock. Bank of America, it's at new lows. I'm not interested in buying things at new lows. In fact, things at new lows that come up and fail, this is something that I'm not thinking, should I buy this here at the bottom? I don't know. Is that knife done falling yet, do you think? Are you sure? Versus like this thing might come up a little bit. Last time I got one of these, what happened? Accelerated. So if it comes up and I can take that, that's my bear setup, right? This thing's making new lows. The sellers own it. They're in control. So I'm not trying to call out a bottom. I have no interest in that. Maybe that's a younger man's game. Or ladies. Okay. BX. Same story. No interest. Caterpillar. Okay. Caterpillar. And you might think, Scott, what? Okay, what do you mean okay? I mean, there's our zone of line of consolidation. That's different. Look at the bottom to top. These are all the times where the buyers do nothing, right? And then we got one of these. And then we're like, okay, that's interesting, Caterpillar. What else do you got? And we watch the selling cycle. The selling cycle comes down. What happened to the volume on the selling cycle? What does that tell us? Sellers are decreasing their strength. Beautiful. Beautiful. Next, what happens? Stochastics. What's the orientation? It seems to be orienting in a good way. What happened the last time we started orienting this way? Oh, that was a nice piece in there, right? What else? My stochastics, I've seen the selling cycle start and it's starting to pinch and I'm thinking same thing, I'm close. But I don't have the Heikin-Ashi. I still have that. So I'm thinking maybe that's a Monday that if we get a second day, now I'm more convinced. Now I get the stochastics to cross. Does that make sense from a teaching moment? Why I would be a little more inclined in this market to wait and want to see that on Monday rather than put a trade on Friday before the weekend. And God, there's a lot of potential for news to come out over the weekend right now. A lot of places that news could come from. Anyway, talk to me. What do you guys think? Market posture, look for momentum, looking for stability. Yeah, right? What's the rush? Market's not going anywhere without us. I love it. Thank you guys. Karen, I love that you commented so quickly. I want feedback. You guys know I hate feeling like I'm in a monologue here. Sienna, no stability. No stability. Thank you, Clint. I forgot about it. We got Ukraine budget, busy weekend. Tariffs constantly. And there's also the fact of weekend theta, which we might address if we spread trade it and get some positive theta, but is that few days of minor positive theta worth the risk you take of coming out on the wrong side of the news. That's a yeah. Cash is a position. Sienna in consolidation. This is maybe trying. I just don't feel like that's enough yet, right? Maybe if it got into this zone, this right here feels like maybe this is a $55 to $60 stock. And this thing is getting ready to roll over one more time, because that doesn't look like the buyers have a lot of strength as this thing climbs up the cycle. So I don't look at that and think, should we call the bottom? Once the buyers are in control, which would have been clear by this situation, there's plenty of opportunity for you. Right now, there's no indication of that whatsoever. So I'm actually looking at this and putting this on my bear list, which, mind you, our bear list, we're going to have both as of Sunday. So if you're new, I hope you can make it. Sunday is my favorite. Sunday morning, we sit down for an hour and 10 minutes because I never wrap up in an hour because I talk so much. And we really go through it. The more I'm going through this, the more I'm like, I was like, should we put a trade on as I go through it? Every one of these is like, you know what? I want one more day right now in what we're seeing. Even if that confirmation costs me a little bit, I'm willing to take that. I'm not feeling that bold here. CME was one that we had really liked. Okay, I need to pull this one back. Oh my God, I skipped right through it. Don't let me skip right through it, Karen. I don't like the way that looks. Let me go to ATLX. Whew, doesn't look good. Lithium. It does look like it's bottoming, meaning like the consolidation angle seems to be moving into this kind of a pattern right here, right? Now, I'll tell you this. Knowing that this has this kind of potential, lithium could become some sort of a political thing at any given time, right? Any could. My thought, and if you've ever traded Bollinger Bands, you would see this is a tight, they're probably tightening up right now. You could trade the breakout, where it's like if you got one big breakout move, and I mean, I don't know, this thing's getting pretty cheap at this point. I would want to see the full pattern of penance where it breaks out, pulls back, higher low. That's what I would be looking for on something along those lines. ATLX. Let me know if you have questions. Ooh, and sorry that I missed it the first time. Where was I? Delta. Nope, Cisco. Delta looks terrible. Cisco. Same thing, right? Like, I was like, do I maybe think about something that's holding above the 100? Probably not. I don't know. Delta. Horrible. The Dow. Bouncing off lows. I mean, the Dow's moving down like everything else. At least there's not like more positioning defensively into the Dow, at least that we can see with the naked eye until we put it into a comparative chart with the other indices. Maybe we'll see something different. Real quickly to orient ourselves, this is where we stand. This looks like it's going to hold at 0.75. No, that's not where we are. That's way back. Oh, it is where we are. This is where we are at 0.75. This is going to drop down to 0.25, maybe even to 0. Volume is probably going to drop to 0.25. Major market and sector rotation are both neutral at this point. The VIX hit a higher high. So, yeah, I mean, we're going to drop at least to a 0.5. Maybe more. I guess we'll see. But certainly this is not where we want to be. We have no positive momentum or strength of any kind that's starting to show up. But like I said, if it's going to V, it's here. Now, if you're saying, you know what, Scott, you keep talking about that, but I don't care. I'd rather wait for the next move than the V. Fair enough. That's what you should do. And then when we see it stabilize out of that, then maybe it pulls back or maybe it moves into a continuation. We'll talk about both. Yeah, for sure. Don't feel pressure to trade at all in this market. Duke. Duke Energy. I mean, look at it. It's so choppy. It was like, it looked like it was going to move and then it pulled back. If I was in that trade and I saw that pullback, I'd be like, yeah, it looks like it hit some resistance. I'm probably going to close down only to find myself irritated by this move today. Oh, goodness. Fastenal all the way back, but it's, you'll notice it's like actually not quite, didn't hold this, but it does seem like it's a higher low. Maybe there's still something developing in industrials. Caterpillar, Fastenal. Let's not be too judgmental. We'll see what it does next week. FHN. FHN, to me, looks like a bearish flag. There's the sell-off on increasing volume. There's the upswing on decreasing volume. I'd be surprised if we can even get back. Look at this old level here. I can't draw a straight line that far, but if I did, that's where it would be. Yeah, this one to me, you guys, is looking bearific. Super bearish. Bear-tabulous. At least something like that, if not even like the full Monty, right? That's how I would start to vision a trade like that. So you can see, looking on both sides, great market to learn, repeating the same thing over and over. It's clear. I love it. Repetition is the mother of all learning. You know what's the thing too is it's like the same thing that gets us here as traders is the thing that then slows us down in learning, right? You have to have a mindset to be like, hey, you know, like a small business. They say 80 to 90% are going to fail in the first year. And yet here you are. And yet here you stand. Or sit. Probably sitting. I sit as well. And you're like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to give it a shot. I think I can make it work. I mean, we're not thinking we're some great geniuses. We're thinking, hey, I'm willing to put the time and the work and the effort. I'll organize myself. I'll learn what I need to learn. I'll get the discipline, the psychology in place. I think there's a, you know, you develop a love of markets, of speculation, of just like seeing it and how it works and then how it lives and breathes. But this is, I agree with that assessment 100%. And yeah, I think we just keep talking about it and just saying like, look, this is what we have. This is what we'll do with it. Yeah. Thank you for the comment. I don't feel like I'm in a rush. You can see. But anyway, bear flag. Back to the bear flag. Woo! Setting up right there. If you're willing to trade both sides, this is the kind of thing we're looking for here. Right? And I think it's funny because when you start to look at it that way and you think of your psychology, at any given time you're thinking of your psychology and the market's psychology. And it's like when I look at a chart, I want a story. I don't want to see a chart. I want a story. Like who's in control? Who did what when? Right? The story is all about the sellers. They smashed it. They grabbed it. Buyers are feeble right now. Look how feeble they are. Look at they're desperate. Oh, it's a bullish day today, is it? Yesterday, it pushed up and dojied, and we got almost 10 million shares. And today, we got back to the top of yesterday, and we have 3.3 million shares. That doesn't look strong. I'm definitely looking at things like this. Now, am I going to wait for this to cross back down? Not on a bear trade, remember. Right? This is what we're starting to look for, where it's like, hey, if this thing crosses back below this low at 1852, slap me in that bad boy. I think it's dropping because look what it did last time. There's the flag. There's that. There's the buyers. How did they look? Yeah, they didn't look great. And then what happened? On the engulfing, if you got in, you were good. But if you didn't, man, this thing just took down. Stock psychology of stock owners. This isn't going any higher. I want to get my profits. Yeah, absolutely. You can see it. They're nervous that it's getting like, yeah, you can feel it almost, right? It's interesting. FI, Flex, RGTI, LJ, you know I'll get it. If I start to forget, don't let me. Flex, looking looking like a bear. For me right now, I'm thinking if I get a second day on Monday, I'm going to put on a bull trade or two, maybe three. I don't know. But right now, the pattern of the day, in my opinion, is bear flag. One of the things we've been talking about is an inability to trade bearishly because it's just a freight train that's moving. It fell out a window. You're catching it. It's hard. Right? So we've been looking for some setups to show up that we can pop into. Okay, I think our patience will pay off. Bear with me. I just feel like Fox has fallen too far. It went from pullback to sell-off, and I'm just not... That doesn't feel like strength. There's a few that do, and that's not one of them for me anymore. GE Vernova feels like it's bear flag. Got down to the 200, coming back up. If we get to that under zone and bounce, maybe GE Vernova is a $240 stock, and that's the next place it's going to hit. Gilead was one that I was thinking could be a bullish, off-cycle, defensive with healthcare. Not today, but I want you to notice that today's selling day of 2%, closing at the low, average volume 9.3 million, today's volume 4.6. It's at 50%. Does that look like the sellers are yanking this thing, or does it look like the sellers are starting to dry up? And anyone who missed it last time at that 110 level starting to think about it. Okay, higher high. Good trend, off cycle. We've been seeing some strength in healthcare. If I'm going to go bullish, that's the kind of thing that I'm looking for. Gold still a bit of an inflationary tool, inflationary protection tool for some people. I don't trade it. Google's at new lows. I don't care. Financials just not looking good. In fact, looking like they could be in that bear flag club. Robinhood, same thing. HTHT kind of flat. This one not as much. You can see this is a bit of maybe a symmetrical triangle. We had a bit of a pennant triangle discussion. I think I would want to see this, and which means it would maybe, just sort of break out and run again. So I don't know that I'm going to participate in that stock. That was new anyway, so I'm not too worried about it. HWM, IBIT. I said I'm maybe looking for it. I'm still maybe looking for it. If this thing comes up into this zone, we had a nice bear trade on this one, courtesy of Gary, and I'm going to now make it mine and take the next one to here if I can. If that's what shows up, great. If not, I won't. I get to decide. Is IBM going to hold on? Feels like it's starting to teeter. And we've got all this. If this thing comes up and it doesn't get in, I'll definitely trade a put on something like that in a weakened market where this fills the gap back down to 230. Absolutely. ICE. Ooh. If I was going to do one, BABA was one. Let me see what we look like here. I believe this would be... Ooh. And even there, it's like, still has a little bit of a lower shadow. Doesn't quite have a big upper. It's just, this is probably the best thing we've seen, and it's just not quite enough on a Friday, as our posture is going to not just have already dropped down to a 1.25, but is going to continue even further. We've already decided it's going to drop at least 0.5 to 0.75. So yeah. I think we're being prudent with a decision to ease, hold off, wait until we see a little bit more confirmation moving into next week. I feel, I'm going to tell you right now, I feel like it was lucky. And I feel glad that I put a triggering target on mine that said if it gets to 44, because the low is 43.95. And then I feel like I got a pretty decent exit on the rest of it as well. So, yeah. Okay. Okay, let's keep going. Ice. I like it. It's on the docket for next week. IWM, no. KMB, no. But we're close. I think this is getting close. It doesn't look like it on that. But if we go here, that looks close. Right? So that's KMB. Coca-Cola. Ooh, Coca-Cola, not as much. But we know it's defensive. So let's just be a little flexible. Kroger, definitely, right? And you're like, that's a big red candle. But is it? It only is dropping. Well, it is dropping 2%. But, I'm like, is it? It is. Okay, it's 2% still. MasterCard, it's now below the 100. It's off it for me. When you mention your friend Gary, is that Gary P from the C code? I don't know what the C code is. Tell me what that is. Maybe. It's a secret? Okay. Well. Gary Pasanini? Yes. I don't even know if I say his name right. Paganini? Passignini? It's a good Italian name, though, right? Strong Italian name. Meta, down, too far. Gary is your coach? Yes. Gary helps out. He fills in from time to time. And your friend as well? Beautiful. Gary's a magnificent person. I love Gary. And he'll pop in. He'll put out some alerts for us. As things continue and we maybe add classes, you'll see him more as well. Beautiful. I'm glad he did, PJ. I'm glad he did, Clint. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's funny. I wish I had something like this that I could have transitioned people to, because all the time I'm like, hey, trading is a lonely game and can be. And it's like you need a sounding board. You need validation. You need to not internalize and individualize things that shouldn't be, because you're like, oh God, everyone thinks that right now. It's not just me, right? That is the number one reason why people stop trading, 100%. And I've seen efforts at trading groups that when they are going well are fabulous, and then they inevitably fizzle and fall apart. This format that we're doing, this is the format that survives, thrives, grows. We will show the world what a magnificent looking trading group can become and be. It's gonna be glorious. Bear flag on Morgan Stanley. Microsoft, no good, no bueno. Netflix, you can see it across the board. I pared down half of my NI. I kept half of my NI. The half I pared down was a very small loss. Overall, anyone else in this with me? 200. Did you keep all of it, Miguel? I love that you kept all of it. I was on the fence and I was just like, you know what? I'm going to pare down some because the loss was so small. And I'm just going to take that risk off. Actually, what I ended up doing was moving it to the size of the position I was thinking about doing to start with. So for me, maybe it was a little bit different. So I actually was, no, you were right too. But as I saw it, I was kind of like, you know what? I'm just going to move this. I'm going to move this back to what I was going to go for. But I mean, it looks good, right? For what's going on. We should actually have a Heiken Ashi as well at this point if we dive in there. Okay, one more day we'll get it, but it's still moving up. So yeah, I feel okay about it. Good. Well done, everyone. Pat yourselves on the back. Good management. Good management. Magnificent. You magnificent bastards. I hope that's not offensive. I think I'm offensive sometimes. If I am, I apologize in advance. NVIDIA, maybe has moved out of bear flag territory at this point. Yeah, It's subtle, right? Here, I'm thinking flag. Here, I'm thinking, wait a second. I think I've now broken this thing a little better. I would no longer do a put on this. And if I had a minor pullback into that, I would take it. Took a bull position today, PJ. Great. Let me dive into the Heiken Ashi for you. I think you could see all the way up to the 50 or the 100 even. 127 to the 129 area. Your dad sounds like my dad, Kami. We have a few Mike Beckisms around here we still pull out that my kids laugh at. Okay, let me dive in here. Yeah, beautiful. If you want to move your stop and then do it again and then whatever you can get, you can get. I love that. Well done. If we're going to call bottoms, we need to make sure we have something and then make sure we know how we're going to ride them. PLTR, not enough. It's hard to go on something like that. PM, okay. Monday could be our day. That's a nice defensive looking trade. We know consumer staples have been moving well for us. QQQ, this doesn't feel like that's done enough. Roblox. These are things that I think have profits still that the market may want to take back, and I might want to take bearish positions on. That might have been a Heiken Ashi opportunity, but I'm just not looking to take. Even that one still has a bit of a wick, bit of a shadow. SE. I still feel like that has a decent looking setup and would, right? Look at all the selling now. It looked like it was going to give us a signal. It didn't, but it's just holding. There's no selling left. If this thing turns, I like it. I'd take a bull position on that. SPY, still in consolidation, but if we're going to V, we're going to V. Let me give you the Heiken Ashi. Definitely a doji there. Definitely needs a little more confirmation for us to have any expectation. Still a transitionary candle. Oh, man, I got to tell you, I love the conversations that we have. I feel like that's a good way to wrap up the week, to kind of validate how you see things, what you're doing. No one thinks we're crystal balling anything around here, right? I love it. Talon, I've kind of lost my interest in that, to be fair. I'm bouncing it. If you want to keep it, it's dropping from my list. I'm done with it. We have better things that are trying to recover. Toast is a no. TPR, still a no. Tesla's in a bear flag. 212, next stop. That's almost 40 points from where it is now. So if I can risk 10 to 15 and get 40, I'm going to think about doing it. TSM still down. Twilio still down. Bullish dollar is in an okay place for the market. It's actually in a better place for the market to move. Quite honestly, if we're thinking about it realistically. Visa, it's in a consolidation for me now. I'm thinking that most things financial are now in more like bear consolidations and corrections. VIX is down at 21.5. Looks good. Let's see if we get another day on Monday, right? Do we get a second day? That's the question. Walmart is looking like it might give me a bear flag. It's not looking defensive, that's for sure. Thoughts on XLC? Let's go through the XLs and then we'll look at the trading plan. We are wrapping up. We just did cycle 1 on the trading plan. We did a loop. It's a loop. And we're going to loop again. We're going to start with section 1. So if you're new, download your trading plan, section 1. XLB, basic materials down a bit. XLC, I don't like communication services right now. I think all their leaders are down. I need to see something before I'm interested again. Energy popped up today, but pretty flat overall. Nothing really there to want to trade, in my opinion. Financials, there's that bear flag. We're not even going to get to average volume today. So I don't feel great about the buyers. Tell me if I'm wrong. XLI. That feels actually, we got a couple of industrials that look pretty good, but the group itself also looks bear flaggish, and I don't love that. Technology looks bear flaggish, and I don't love that. Staples looks better than anything else, and that makes me feel defensive. Same with utilities. XLV is healthcare. Like all three of our healthcare staples and utilities are the only things holding up right now. Everything else is in a bear flag pattern and looks quite nasty with no signs of positive momentum or strength. Okay, it is what it is. Like, it's not like we're like I mean, if you have some long-term investments, your 401k, yeah, certainly you're not stoked, but you know, we're fine. If your horizon is longer than 3 years, then and if it's not, then it's not really, shouldn't be, that's not really an investment anyways, or right, long-term holding. So yeah, we're not stoked about that, but from a trading standpoint, from what I hear, from what everyone's doing, I feel like I would love to hear, like, how have you done year to date? Market's down 11%. How have you done year to date? How have you done in the last 6 weeks? Market's down like 6. How have you done? Because I feel like everyone's kind of holding up and doing pretty well, learning some things for sure. It's our trading portfolio, so we know there's going to be some volatility to it. Anyway, I don't know. Real quickly, trading plan outline. We are wrapping up right now with Section 8, our improvement strategy, setting goals. What are you going to do to get better? Be smarter, faster, more efficient, to cut losses quicker, to hold winners longer, to enter with better confirmation, to whatever it is. Find it. Find a goal in your weaknesses, something about yourself. Find a goal in your numbers, something you can improve. Find a goal in your trading plan. What aspect of your trading plan? And if it's just next week when we start back over at Section 1, let's do it. Next week, we're going to start back over with what? Personal info, strengths, weaknesses, commitment, discipline, mission, vision, all the good stuff. It's great to see everybody. I absolutely love hanging out with you to end my Friday afternoon. Shut my computer down and call it a day. I hope everybody is safe this weekend. If you have bad weather, I hope you have a great weekend. I'll see everybody Sunday morning. Don't miss it. RGTI, thank you, El Jago. Ooh, snuck it in. That's a breakout for me, but it's not a trade for me. It's broken the consolidation, step 1, with volume even better. Maybe it gets back up to this old high in here. Maybe not. On the pullback, that's what I'm looking for. There it is. Time for refreshment, Clint. I agree. Thank you, guys. Thanks, everybody. It's good to see you. Have a great week. As always, happy trading.
Recording stopped.